So constitution can say, to me amended this part. Parliament into me amended this part. What is the constitution telling you to do? It's telling you cannot amend me. You cannot change me.
Sure.
Not even parliament can change me. No court in Ghana can address these issues. What is the constitution telling you? And see, I've been saying, sir, we always speak against coup d'etat and the use of violent force to overthrow government. We've said that we don't want it, and none of us supports such action. But the constitution is telling you explicitly in the constitution itself, say, all democratic means available to us to change the constitution are null and void and cannot be used. What other option is it giving you? And so we've said, anybody who is a well-meaning Ghanaian who wants to continue to protect the democracy we have to have this conversation about that constitutional provisions in there, the transitional provisions, the indemnity clauses. And let us decide as Ghanaians if this is actually going to protect and promote our democracy, or is this actually the Achilles heel in our so-called democracy. And to touch on your point to wrap up, sir, no politician has been able to be prosecuted or anything, because so far, Auditor General's report from December 1993 till date, every year consistently, Auditor General's report, which is sent to Parliament.
Yeah, sure.
We've seen people who have caused financial loss to this state, people who have stolen. It was a High Court judge who told us that they created loot and share, and I'm a
yeah, sure.
And see, all of these things, you ask yourself, why has none of these people been able to be brought to court for prosecution? The answer is, all of these guys have their protection under indemnity clauses in the constitution, because the first people who committed the coup d'etat in Ghana are from the UP tradition, which has morphed into the NPP. The PNDC, the AIFRP, then the PNDC morphed into the NDC. And see, if you look at 93, from 92 to date, these two parties have been the ones ruling Ghana. And all the corrupt practices you've seen in Ghana has happened under these two parties. Meanwhile, the indemnity clause is telling you that anybody who belongs to these two parties cannot be arraigned before any court in Ghana. Would you be surprised, sir, no politician has been able to be prosecuted for any of the things that they've done, which we have hardcore evidence? And you see, I am telling every Ghanaian...
Chachuchi Kata.
Yes.
Or no, or because of
causing financial loss to the state. So that's one instance you can mention. But you see, if we go into the merits of those cases, you see exactly what I'm talking about. And see, you have certain instances where they'll use something we call scapegoats. But I'm saying, if you look at the Auditor General's report, it has given and yet country where you say government accounts in GCB, 52 billion Ghana cedis went missing. And before we use Sika from bank, there's a long paper trail. Why has nobody been invited for prosecution or investigation? So I'm saying there could have been exceptional cases, one or two. But apart from those two cases you mentioned, no, who else? And I'm saying, sir, all of these guys hide under the transitional provisions, which is the indemnity clauses, to do these things in Ghana.
There's a story on Onua online. In respect to Niawokaya. Na Enra and he says that Ghana's constitution promotes selective justice instead of rule of law.
Right.
And I believe, sir, it's also in line with Niawokaya.
Exactly.
And on the end of the day, he made it known to us to say, we're drafting a new constitution.
Okay.
Or
but that's the way to go. But what has to happen is that we have to have a national discussion around it, like a referendum. It's a constitution, yes. It's good he has done something, but it's not just for him to decide what we want. Send it out to the people, let us discuss it on the national level.
It's my main kind kakrana yenya a better understanding of the way I could say I say the founder and presidential candidate of United Front Party has added his voice to the call for the amendment of the 1992 Constitution, saying several provisions of the document have outlived their usefulness. He argues the Constitution gives too much power to the executive, which makes the president more powerful, affecting checks and balances within the arms of government. Mr. Dike, ene yedin komo ewo ehadu muse, that was Enra. Ewo ehadu muse no. I say the Constitution in its current state does not promote development, asserting the state is living in the past. Now let me quote in Sema Okaye. Our Constitution does not promote rule of law because it has a selective justice. Aisha 1, for instance, was being embodied by the executive, the reason we are suffering before getting her for prosecution. These are some of the few instances that na Odike Emma they can the constitution so
right.
It's don't want to me call new online now Musumako could read this very particular story. Mami to na wrap up
right. So the constitution is clear, sir. Yeah. Say the originator of the constitution himself before he passed said severally said the constitution is not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Mills tried to do something about it. We have a report on the document from the review commission. In fact, it's still on the shelf. But you see, one of the interesting things about all of this is if we cannot depend on the MPP and the NDC to change the constitution, because as soon as they touch it, they would go into oblivion. They would refuse to exist. Because like I said, since '92, the only two parties that have been ruling Ghana is the MPP and the NDC. And all the people who have done coup in this country are from these two parties. And see, once we touch it, they will fail to exist. And that is why none of them can do anything. And see, if anything is going to be done about this constitution, we need a completely neutral body, someone who doesn't have any interest in these two parties, in these two factions, to be able to initiate that change. And that's where the youth of Ghana come into play here. And see, but I want to touch on one thing Odike said in his...
Yes,
to wrap up here. I say the president has too much powers.
As a mofa on your line, as a fanto suna, you ready that lie. Yes, I say constitutional ma.
The executive too much power.
Yes.
I disagree with that instance to some extent. Yes.
I see.
The reason is, JB, someone say it is a very deadly weapon, right?
Yeah.
But Udi Etuoma 12-year-old is disastrous. But start Etuona with the bullets, so a very well-trained soldier, it becomes a weapon for good.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And see, in the wisdom of governance, right, the president has been given certain powers. So Onua Obia or you're abusive or you're tyrant or you're gangster kingpin, that power will be used for evil, right? But in the same way, so Onua Obia or you're very benevolent or you're progressive and a visionary, who said he's able to use those same powers to push his people to a certain greater height. I'll give you instances. China today and then Russia. Almost say Aka said they don't want any elections in their country again. Almost all presidents, why? Because also Xi Jinping and China as a whole, from 92 till date, from 1990 actually, from 1990 till 2024, nipa 800 million if we poverty if you owe 800 million people. Nipa say, why would the people want to change their president? Because who say we are seeing progress. And some say Xi Jinping only president so called Russia. When the USSR Soviet Union was split in the 90s, same 1991, thereabout. Putin came later to take over Russia, and it's Russia progress or the Russia cut through. The Russians said they voted for him 2 times, 2 different terms. After the second term, almost say is too good. It's almost elections class another president until he dies. It's Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin of Russia have been made presidents for life. Now they have the executive power, which would be seen to be excessive. But because visionary, and they are pushing their country forward, the people themselves said, we don't want elections any longer. Rule till you die. In fact, recently, who said Paul Kagame of Rwanda, same thing. Almost say he should be president for life. Because today, I'm in Mokasano, there's a whole town, Kagame has built and he has given to the people for free. And yes, I bet you are rental. I say, may sit down a whole town. We see the citizens say, continue free. And any single room self-contained. You're looking at duplexes, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom units.
All right,
yes, and see, I don't agree with that part. Say, you should reduce the president's powers.
So 2 minutes they wait to media man, but nobody should the
criteria for anyone who qualifies to be president become excessively stringent. And see, rather than take the gun away and say it's a deadly weapon, make it very difficult for any other person who's not qualified to have the gun.
Very well.
Thank you.
I think your constitution, in many discussions, be a lot about it, and Maka say I don't belong to a school of thought. They are calling for a total overhaul of our constitution because Maka say a fourth republic way in the foundation your constitution. Once you jettison the constitution, it means a democracy in our country.
Yeah, sure.
But we need to do constitutional re-engineering. There are several parts, like he pointed out, outliving the usefulness going forward. And Maka constitution should be a living document. I reflect it present circumstances. And so here constitution be around the world we are evolve based on current happenings anyway. Until when there those days na constitution permit here about bedru we be as human needs as a you taste for way as other needs there are a lot of things coming on stream. Or those days, write your constitution, internet, your friends say AI, and then for but they've all come on stream. So you might want to update your constitution in such a way, say, may factor all these things. So I belong to that particular school of thought that says we need to review our constitution. Now you're updating this by Sabi. You didn't near my bashima, a bit me are dealing with your current situation, your circumstances. And the ultimate priority of every constitution is yet me secure. Your friends saying a certain economic dominance be a sabi nipo more or minum or mohometomo. That is the whole way. Yeah, governance, the whole essence, no. But yembi say I say since I shall say be seen there, yet timia ye at that particular way, no, I penno amagana na. Consistently our people are suffering. You made mention of your friends taxes and then answer for Abba. Because state, Abedru will be a second ho. And the states have come to a point that the only way to make generate sikana say put more taxes on the poor people. States, ain't creating any other thing for them. The government is not looking at any other way, but rather taking taxes from the already impoverished people. Sikana say then people will steal the money. After the day, there are no consequences for these people. Resources now you're winning go waste. My culture said the most valuable of all resources is a human resource. Yeah, you will have a lot. When it comes to this natural and mineral resources, we have a lot of them. Yet in your waste there was a time on TV discussion where people were advocating say, oh, we know as because Sika will never say, oh, mine will good, or diamond, or silver, or way that went to me and time for Jessica. We now will be a so sometimes as if say damn the winning party. You will go diamond, silver, bauxite. You we and I say the baby in a large scale. But if you share psychiatric, be I wouldn't oh yes. Some of these things they have the implications are quite consequential. You see, argument that we do narrow argument. You go to the United States, somebody will tell you, okay, US, you're legalizing weed, and that's for them. Go there and ask the American government how much they are spending in dealing with the other side of it. But today you wake up in America, somebody will just pick a gun, move to a school and shoot people. You think they're just doing it just like that? Yeah. I have implications of some of these things. Go to the prisons and stuff. So you see, we don't do this narrow argument and say, we because it is Kababa. Other way. Then how are we able to cash on those things? Now you find a way what friend say box your friend say lithium yeah kwabranie atena say atamaden da kwakomo bi say omomaye just a paltry percentage and we are okay with it when other countries are discovering same thing and they are making huge investment out of that omobe gain as a country and then ayete ho brought from day one abesi in the politics na me say yebi and your politics are money per day. And your politics are a fa ohiani and the bao haimu. And your politics are seeking to impoverish the poor the more. Because that is how we are. We are very wicked people. That's what I'm telling you, say. Those days now not slave trade war no. What is a brony be will be them say of an akotono. It is our own people no funny me akotono akwadin chene. Because we are wicked. Nipa no person do no be and and that is the kind of way you maximize it on our political platforms as a people who rise to political prominence think that they are better than everybody else, and for that matter, they have to be worshipped. That is why sometimes you should back. Now, President Kwao criticize and almost say, "Wow, Sukono ma more, but I didn't know." Until say your politics, you are monetizing. Power belongs to the highest bidder. And then I know who will be a Jessica be a the ability of a president. But the core values they determine whether the person is a leader or not. Because if you're a leader, you don't even need to market yourself. But when you see a leader, you see a leader. Yeah. You must come with certain qualities. You see certain fine lines of leadership in that particular person. His ideas, the kind of orientation, but you're reduced to the sense that it's about money. Obi how could just go where the money is coming from? Nobody questions. And then they can't say the president. The president try for us, and then we are just joking with this sensitive thing. And then yes, so and our mind full my home because we hear Yansani and what you drive it or mine to a positive lines as a you bet me maximize your games. I give you hope to people. The Ghanaian dream now you can't yet hear refer to American dream no. People made sacrifice for it. A man for more visionary people sat down and realized we need to build America to a model as a destination for we are say be a talent when Mubia will come to America. And it's the reason why this American lottery as for what they buy. The last time I was telling you, American lottery at the buy because America has realized the labor force no diminish because average age was somewhere around 41 to 51. They need labor force. So they introduced this particular policy to ensure you energetic youth and just to have one economy in Kosovo. And today that policy is being replicated in other countries. Canada is doing the same thing. Even the UK is doing the same thing with these nurses and nurse for them. And then youth population are going west. And one day because as I live in the sea world, North Africa, Sebi, Tunisia, that Arab Spring, started their fire by because when youth consistently become desperate and they realize that there are no other options, the average and the ordinary politician doesn't care about winner. 200 Ghana, 300 Ghana, everywhere, it means of what be a problem. And Nepal will revolt against the system, and we don't want to get there. That is why we need to maximize the options of these young people. Now you're making sure they'll have access to capital, they have access to something, what to do, productive we need to more money so to now every aspect be you're monetizing we need them for woman and then metasana more can blasters as them. I see a Cote d'Ivoire. Look at Adibia Assassin at the tournament. The fact is that they know very well that this particular team cannot do anything there. Because of money, people will get, they will follow and go. We've been going to tournament, we go and waste money and come back. This time, but people to sit down and say, Blaster and any team, and no football team and kobo, yan setting up academy, yan shall build the team from the scratch. Now you're making sure that in the next 5 years, and Yamaya hot time you build their national team. They will not do that because I want for Sika baby, and we just pull ourselves like this at the worst stage and we are going nowhere.
Yes. Oh yes, I mean, but what else? My memory was just 1 minute to
wrap up. Yes, JB, because last year towards the end of the year, me I'm tired with the talk.
Okay.
And I said, anyone who be a or Kasano and has been talking for a long time. So see, I know medane fire na komuso because Kasana does. We need action.
Oh, okay.
And he said, "Debia, you can't say, oh, say." And we're not willing to take on the responsibility to actually do the work. Then we have to keep quiet.
Yeah.
Because I said, no, it's not doors. And so this year, to the youth of Ghana, everyone who is listening, talk not doors. This is a year for action. Kasana doors. This is a year for action. And really, sir, and you realize, sir, it is not going the way you want it. Me say the option is not to run away. Because anka omo Canada ni US, anka omo join for US ni Canada call baby anka. You won't get the chance to go to Canada and UK. But they stayed in their country and built their country.
Yeah. And
so let's stop doing the easy thing. Let us stay here and fix the country. And fixing the country, I will not be looking for other people to do it. No, we've asked them several times, sir, omo here, they've shown us, sir, they cannot. They will not, and they don't know how to fix it. What's left for us to do? All those so-called progressives who claim, say, we have alternative ideas and policies, and we can stand to make this thing better. It's about time, say, you're back together and make sure, say, we do the work to make Ghana work again. His
Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his inaugural address, Eka said, he sees exciting times ahead. On that sad note, I say a word better. The best is here.